Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. How are you guys doing today? Happy Tuesday to you all. Oh boy, it's just been, the day has been interesting. Um, but I'm here, guys. Like I said, I can never tell you what time. I can't give a specific time due to my schedule and the things I have going on. So please subscribe to the channel so that you will always get a notification as to when I come on. And you could join me live or you could choose to listen to these videos later. In any event, please make sure you show up at some point and listen to the videos because whatever you may be going through, it may be discussed because I share my own personal situations and things I've gone through and how I've gotten through these things and became an overcomer of these challenges. Perhaps you might hear something that might help you with your own situation that you may be currently going through. So keep showing up. It doesn't mean that if you don't hear it today, that at some point that you may hear something that might resonate with you and your situation. And invite others to show up too. This is a no judgment zone. We welcome others. We talk about healing here, grief, pain, situations, and to be an overcomer so that we can minimize the pain and toxicity in our lives and we can embrace our lives instead of existing. So, guys, with that being said, thank you for being here. One thing before we get into this topic of discussion, I am not a therapist or social worker or counselor. I'm someone who have gone through so many trials and challenges that would have broke the average person, but I was an overcomer as I took God by the hand and I did the work step by step. And God has been there for me and blessing me and helping me as I take these steps, which is not easy. And as I talk about these things, that's an outlet for the pain as well. So find ways to find an outlet so that you can release the pain because it's a healing force as well, guys. So, now with that being said, let's get into this topic of discussion today. And the title is Embrace Love and Leave Toxicity Behind. Embrace love and leave toxicity behind. Now, sometimes I'm going to have notes so that I can specify certain points, emphasize things, and other times I would just be speaking. In any event, these are things, real life situations that occurred and happened to me, and how I've gotten through it. And I talk about some ways that perhaps can help you. Now, toxicity is all around us today. It seems to be worse than ever. A lot of things we see today looks like a shit show in a circus and a bad circus. Um, However, instead of falling prey to this, we can find ways to minimize the toxicity within our lives or around us. We can't do anything about the toxicity that exists today in this world. However, we don't have to be a partaker of it. We can minimize it in our life so that we can stay in a place of peace. Love will always outshine hate, guys. No matter what it looks like right now, it look like the hate train could be winning. But I tell you, love will always outshine hate. Um, One of the things I find helpful, because I've been on this journey for a while since losing everything and everybody in 2020. Um, and it's been a long, long journey so far. It's a lot better than where I started out from in 2020. However, I will share with you some of the things that I have learned because, like I said, I had to yesterday on my video, I spoke about how I had to change my mindset to look at the situations that were occurring and the challenges in my life as from a different perspective as lessons. Remember, people, situations, circumstances, and events may continue to occur in our life or come into our life for a reason, season, lifetime, or lesson. And in my case, these were many unlearned lessons that I had to repeat over and over until I learned them. And once I learned those lessons, guys, I was able to close those doors and move forward, because unlearned lessons can keep you in a place of pain and stagnation. Because when you don't learn, you have to repeat, and then the next lesson is worse than ever, and it creates more pain and anguish in your life. We're going to talk about some ways how to get through that. For me, changing my mindset was so important, and to not to pity myself and look at the circumstances as woe is me. I had to change my mindset to see that these are lessons that I didn't learn. What am I not learning? Why am I repeating this lesson? What did I do wrong in the last lesson that I have to repeat? These were questions I continuously asked myself until I started to do the work that my therapist gave me, which was a pro and con list. And as I started to do that with each circumstance and individual in my life, I started to understand that I wasn't learning a lesson in a way that I should have, because if I did, I wouldn't be repeating. It wouldn't be repetitive. The door would have been closed and I would have been able to move forward. Each lesson that you learn and that door gets closed, you don't have to repeat it. So then you move forward, you know, and that's what I had to learn. Changing my mindset, which was difficult, from what I have learned all my life to resetting that button to see things from a different perspective. Um, in order to change things in our life and to minimize the toxicity, we have to look at the situation from a different perspective. You know, and also, when you want to attract peace, positive situations, and minimize um, toxicity, you must surround yourself with positive individuals, positive thinking, and not be so pessimistic about your circumstances, because that's going to bring in more negativity and more toxicity. And in order to bring in a positive, you have to change your mindset to a positive thinking and surrounding yourself with uplifting people while minimizing the toxicity ones, or the toxic ones, I should say. If you want peace and love in your life, visualize that. You can have these things. You know, visualize what you want. Deduct yourself from the toxicity. And some of the ways that you can deduct yourself from the toxicity is to do a pro and con list of the individuals and situations you have in your life. And if the cons outweigh the pros, then set boundaries. In my situation, I set boundaries, and when the boundaries were overstepped, I had to close doors, cut off, block, and delete. And it was necessary. Otherwise, I'm still, inviting the toxicity in if I didn't close doors. It was painful, hurtful, because some of the doors I had to close were individuals, situations in my life forever. But if I wanted to grow, heal, and evolve, and be uplifting, I had to do what was necessary to minimize that toxicity. Otherwise, I would stay stuck in it. So deduct yourself from toxicity as much as you can. You can't do anything about the toxicity in the world today, but you can minimize how much of it that you take in. Here's the hardest part, guys. Do not allow yourself to engage in toxic situations. Because sometimes it can be tempting, like gossip, negative stuff, sometimes, trying to hear the tea about something, but that tea that's coming in is something really negative and it may hurt someone. These things are toxic, and toxicity will lower your vibrations. So we want to keep our vibrations high. The higher you keep your vibrations, the more positive things you can bring in your life, the more positive situations that you can bring into your life. Sorry, guys, I have music going, but it's not without the commercials. I don't know how to do that yet. I guess I may have to subscribe or something. But anyway, the music helps keep a certain type of atmosphere in the flow. Um, Getting back to keeping your vibrations high is so important. so that you can attract what you need and want in your life. Many of us don't want the toxicity, the negativity, but sometimes we need help in addressing it and getting it out of our lives. Sometimes this requires making sacrifices, and one example might be, instead of listening to the gossip that that neighbor or coworker want to tell you about, which is maybe something negative that may um, be something where somebody got hurt unnecessarily, instead of running to hear that tea, perhaps it might be a better idea to work on a goal list of what you want and what you want your life to look like. Because the less toxicity, the more that you can keep your thinking in alignment with what you want. The less toxicity, the more you can vibrate high. And the higher you vibrate, the more that you can manifest what you want in your life. It's not easy, believe me, guys. I've been doing this for a while now, but I know that it works because I'm living proof that it does, little by little, step by step. And the important factor, the key factor for me, is that I put God into the equation. I ask Him to help me. I'm always in prayer, asking Him for help, and I've made certain vows to God that I keep where people don't understand, but it's not for them to understand because that's between me and God and my relationship with Him. Now, one of the vows I will talk about is helping others by being on this channel. And it helps me too because all these things are an outlet for pain. Find ways to release the pain within you, because as you do that, you're releasing, and then that means you're healing as well. Soft music, do things to uplift your spirit. Self-care is important as you get on this journey to heal and to minimize the toxicity. Love. Surround yourself with loving, uplifting individuals, people who really have your back and who really care about you, and they're not pretending and wearing a mask. People who really want to see you succeed, they want to see you win. And deduct yourself from those who are jealous and envious and who wants to see you fail just because they're jealous and envious, because they're not ready to do the work to heal. And because someone else is not ready to do the work to heal, and that's okay because they may not be ready at this particular time, but they have no right to interfere with your healing process. And if people, in my case, interfere and keep doing stuff, trying to stop, block, I just cut off, block, and delete. Go into prayer, meditation, ask God, handle this, please, while I stay focused here. Because it's important when you start this journey to stay focused. And asking God to help you doesn't mean you have to be specifically religious, sitting in a church every week or whatever. You can have a relationship, direct relationship with God without doing those things. Um, and I'm not being biased. I'm just saying that, you can't have a relationship with God that way. You don't have to go through those entities to connect with God. And I'm living proof of that. And just keep moving forward. If you fall down, get up. It's like the metaphor I use of describing a child, baby learning to walk. They know they're supposed to walk, so they don't give up. They fall down, may hurt their leg or arm. They get right back up, cry for a minute, get back up, and keep walking. And one day they walk without falling. And that's the reward of it. And as you continue to move forward, you're going to fall down, you're going to have these ups and downs where you feel one day, yeah, I'm ready to take on the world, and the next day you feel like you can't get out of bed. That's okay, because we're human and we have all different types of emotions going on as we transform and go through these things in life. Don't give up. Surround yourself with positive people and situations that will always uplift you, a support system if you have that. In my case, what I do, I stay in prayer. I listen to uplifting videos and music, mostly music, to bring me out of that, sometimes cloudy feeling of grief, etc. Because we're human, and and just don't be so hard on yourself. Know that you're going to have the up and downs, you know. but keep your vibrations high. Never allow the toxicity to lower your vibration. Just keep moving forward. And people are they're gonna be haters. What I do is tune out that noise, give that to God. And believe me, as I give it to God, He is handling it so that I can stay in a place of healing and not broken down, busted, and disgusted, as some people would like you to see. And people who want to see you in that energy are already in that energy, you know. So pray for them that they, get on this journey as well to heal. And what I also will suggest, which a lot of people, I've been getting some conversations with women on this. So I want to explain this before I leave today. Excuse me, about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for the person who, hurt you. Forgiveness is for you so that you can release the hurt and pain and the individual who hurt you. Release all of that. Because if you stay stuck in a place of bitterness and anger, then you are keeping yourself stagnated. That means you can't grow, heal, and evolve. And this was a lesson that was so unlearned in my situation for far too long. And finally I learned that it's not, yes, because some of these folks have done some horrific things to me, and it took a long time to release it. But I release it because if you don't, they hold the power over you. And the way that they hold the power over you is by keeping you stuck and stagnated in that pain. Remember when ABC did this, 5, 10 years ago, whatever, let that stuff go. And you ask God to help you, because I couldn't do it on my own. I had to ask God to help me. And as He did, and I released a ton of bricks, as I use as a metaphor all the time, as I released that, wow, I felt free. It was freeing to release that pain and bitterness and whatever, and let these people go. They may want to try to hold on to me, but I cut off, block, and delete a long time ago and give the rest to God and continue to keep my vibrations high. I have days where, grief slips in, and then I let myself feel it for a moment, but I don't stay there in that grief or pain or whatever, but I'm not stuck in it. And as you release these things, you're going to feel like a ton of bricks have been just taken off your back, and you can walk upward, you know, and don't allow folks who have hurt you so bad, if they've gone from your life. For me, I can't tell you guys what to do, but I'm just going to use myself as the example. I don't let that back in, because why would I let a snake that bit me come back to bite me again? I just release it and continue to move forward, because as I close those doors over here, God has some new doors over here, right here, for me to open. So as I close and padlock those doors over here, I'm opening these new doors, and God is showing the blessings, bringing them in, as I do the work. This is not a freebie. I'm working towards these things, and it's not easy. But as I take God and put Him back on the table within the equation, and have Him in all of what I'm doing, He's helping me. As I take a step here, God is behind the scenes taking 2, 3, 4 steps, and I'm living proof of everything I'm saying here. And the noise that people are talking about, the lies, the gossip, the maliciousness, for me, when I think about it, it's to be expected, because this is all they know, because these are unhealed individuals who don't know how to do anything else. And that's why I say pray for people like that, and hopefully they will change and see the error of their ways within those situations. That's all you can do, and I don't reflect and think on those things. I just move forward. But I do share my stories here without giving specific details, names, locations, gender a lot of times, because this is YouTube, and that's not the point of the stories. The point is that I became an overcomer because of all those challenges and situations. I was able to uplift myself and remove those negative situations so that I can heal, grow, and evolve and keep my vibrations high. And then I can be a blessing, an example to others by telling you my story, because you may hear something within these conversations here that may help you within your own situations that you may be currently going through. Or you may know someone who may be going through something similar, and you can invite them to join us here, and they can hear something that can help them um, be an overcomer within their own situations. This channel here is to shed light and to uplift, you know, and knowing that if we continue to move forward on our healing to self-love, self-care, that we will see the difference. We will see the positive results that we want. You know, manifestation and manifesting a better situation in our life mean that we want to attract, not run after things. Things come to us as we manifest and attract them in our life, you know, and we get rid of all the toxic things that we don't want. It's better, guys, to be in a place of healing and peace instead of being in a place of broken down, busted, and disgusted. Because without your mental and physical health, you can't help yourself, or you can't take care of things around you or help anyone else. That's the message today, guys. Share this video with others. We're here to uplift, and I'll be back tomorrow with a new message, new videos. So please subscribe to the channel and invite others to do so as well. This is Lisa, shedding love and light. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Until tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Bye for now.